2019 has really just kicked into gear and there are already too many movies coming out to keep track of. Trailers for huge flicks like Endgame, Hobbs & Shaw and Us have already made it clear that it's going to be a stacked card, but there's still a bunch of other films yet to play their hand, readying for a release throughout the year and into 2020. Whether they're only just starting out production or on the cusp of a huge marketing push, a whole host of first look reveals are finally offering a proper look at these projects outside of PR pull quotes and boring old press releases. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com and these are 12 first look images from upcoming movies. Number 12. Tolkien. You'd be forgiven if you didn't even realise a J.R.R. Tolkien biography was in development. Nicholas Hoult, aka Beast, aka the Mad Shagger from The Favourite, stars as the famous writer, with Lily Collins as his muse Edith. The film is set to follow his life through his school and uni years, which I'm guessing were more cultured than the drinking Buckfast out of a shoe experience most of us got, up to the inspirational events that led to the creation of The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and The Silmarillion. Director Dom Karakowski is making his English language debut with the flick, with 4 first look images from the project being revealed on Twitter. It's out in May, so a trailer shouldn't be too far off either. Number 11. Tom and Jerry. It might not entirely be Disney's fault, but they certainly had a Mickey Mouse shaped hand in Hollywood believing that the next big moneymaker is live action adaptations of beloved animated brands. This year's Detective Pikachu is going to make a ridiculous amount of money off curiosity alone, while even Sega is getting in on the action with Sonic the Hedgehog in his stupid, muscular, hairy legs. Not one to miss a trick, WB is planning its own live-action film based on Tom and Jerry. The classic cartoon series has enjoyed continued success on the small screen, but the limitations of its appeal have always made a cinematic version seem a little misguided. That isn't stopping WB now though, and while the plot is still up in the air, it's clear the studio is wanting a human, not a cat or a mouse, to guide their cartoon antics. And not just any human either, but specifically Jennifer Lawrence. A leaked snap of concept art on Twitter has revealed that the studio is eyeing the actor as the basis of what they're looking for in the project's lead. It probably won't end up being her, but J-Lo could offer the star power this project needs. Number 10. Honey Boy. Nothing about Shia LaBeouf's life or career really makes any sense. You never know what the filmmaker is going to do next, but you can always bet it'll be pretty controversial. His latest effort is Honey Boy, which he has written himself, a semi-autobiographical film about a child actor, Otis, dealing with his abusive, drunk father. To make things even more meta, LaBeouf is actually playing the terrible dad in question, who's based on his own father. We saw the first image of the actor in character last year, but now the studio's dropped an official image of young Otis, played by Noah Jupe, most recently seen in A Quiet Place. An all-star cast supports him as well, including Lucas Hedges as the older version of Otis, alongside Micah Monroe, Natasha Lyonne, and FKA Twigs. It's currently sitting on a 100% Rotten Tomato score after its first showing at Sundance, so let's hope a full trailer comes soon and an official release date shortly after. Number 9. Last Christmas. You can probably understand everything you need to know about Last Christmas just by looking at the first official image. A rom-com from acclaimed director Paul Feig, the flick sees Emilia Clarke's Kate and Henry Golding's Tom falling for each other, no doubt after some shenanigans of course, on the streets of London during the holiday period. The twist though is that Christmas lasts all year round for Kate, who works as an elf in a holiday-themed shop that's open regardless of the season. As mentioned, the first image encapsulates pretty much everything about that premise. The two awkwardly, but not too awkwardly, walking together with the London Eye in the background, the snow falling all around them. The romance conveyed is it's almost sickly, to be honest. Still, Feig probably won't let this succumb to the same brand of saccharine sentimentality that made similar films like The Holiday such a chore, and with some unreleased George Michael tracks being primed for the soundtrack, could end up crafting a new Christmas favourite. Number 8. Villains. Featured on the Blacklist's Best Unproduced Scripts of 2016, Villains has a damn promising premise. Essentially a home invasion flick gone wrong, Bill Skarsgård and Micah Monroe, who shows up on this list quite a lot now that I think about it, star as 2 untested criminals who decide to break into a relatively unassuming suburban home, only to realise they've made a huge mistake. Rather than robbing a harmless couple, the two discover that their victims have a dark secret that they absolutely do not want anyone to know about. Consequently, the predators become of the prey, and the two find themselves unable to escape the home they broke into. Like I said, it's a pretty cool twist, with the secret around what they actually find in the house being rather tantalizing. My bet is that it's probably a fan room similar to the one in Alan Partridge, only with pictures of Adam Cleary on the wall instead. It's out in March, so a trailer should follow the first look image of Monroe and Skarsgård in character pretty soon. Number 7. Brightburn. Even though he only wrote it, Brightburn has all the hallmarks of a James Gunn joint. Returning to his horror roots with this picture, Gunn hasn't entirely thrown away his love of superheroes, with the film focusing on a child who lands on Earth from the stars. Taken in by a couple and adopted as their own, he's brought up under the classic "with great power comes great responsibility" motto, which falls on deaf ears as he begins to use his powers for evil. If you haven't guessed it already, it's essentially a horror version of the Superman origin story, red and blue iconography and all. A trailer is already out in the wild, but the latest image from Sony Pictures offers a better look at the terrifying child in question, somehow looking even spookier without his mask on. Like, seriously kid, you don't need a mask when you've got facial expressions like that. If you're feeling a bit burned out on big superhero films, then this might be the perfect antidote. Number 6. Little Monsters. Not to be confused as being a remake of the 1989 film of the same name, Hulu's upcoming horror comedy Little Monsters focuses on a washed-up musician called Dave who offers to help keep order on a school trip after falling for the class's teacher, Miss Caroline. Yeah, it sounds a bit romantic in a kinda desperate way, but this budding relationship is halted when the class finds themselves fending off against a zombie apocalypse. Love is never easy, is it? One minute you're looking after a load of children just to bone their teacher, and the next minute a zombie is trying to eat your face off. It's horrible. The first image released from the project focuses on Lupita Nyong'o's Miss Caroline, who looks a little worse for wear, to put it lightly. Number 5. Corporate Animals. Recently enjoying its debut at the Sundance Festival, Corporate Animals has the potential to be one of the breakout horror movies of the year. Directed by Patrick Bryce, the man responsible for the 2 great Creep films, this new genre entry focuses on Lucy, played by Demi Moore, who embarks on a team-building exercise with her workmates. Unfortunately, the setting they've chosen for the event is the caves of New Mexico, which inevitably give way, trapping the entire team underground. Between this and Little Monsters, the message is clear: just stay home. Going on trips brings you nothing but grief. As per the official synopsis, it doesn't take too long for each one to give in to their base human desires, with casual cannibalism becoming a regular occurrence. The first spooky picture from the horror comedy has just been released alongside a host of pretty favourable reviews. Number 4. Zombieland 2. Though development has been ongoing for around a year now, Sony Pictures have finally revealed the first glimpse and title of Zombieland 2. As is the Zombieland way, it didn't just accompany a boring old press release or anything like that, but as part of the ongoing 10-year challenge social media craze, which, to be honest, now that I think about it, will probably be dead by the time this video goes up. Pitting the poster of the latest flick against the original horror comedy side by side, the reveal plays on the nostalgia audiences have for the first cult classic. Likewise, seeing this great cast back together is probably one of the main reasons the film exists at all, especially considering how far all the actors have come since 2009. Double tap is also a cute subtitle referencing one of the biggest rules laid out to survive a zombie apocalypse in the first film. Maybe shoot that over to Little Monsters while we're at it. Number 3. Birds of Prey. After a year or so of panicking and throwing every project at the wall in hope of finding some kind of cohesive plan or vision that could steady the DCEU, WB have seemingly figured out how to proceed with their inconsistent cinematic universe. Finally putting a date on the Batman and admitting that Affleck is out, officially signing James Gunn for Suicide Squad 2, and pushing ahead with Harley Quinn's spin-off Birds of Prey. The studio has their action plan of how they intend to capitalize on the surprise success of Aquaman. It'll be Harley's spin-off to step up to the plate first, however, with production underway and Margot Robbie back in costume as Harley. A very short teaser has just been released by Warner Brothers as well, showing glimpses of the actress in character, flashes of the set, and the tantalizing words, "See you soon." Yeah, you could say it looks more like a fashion shoot than a film, but it still acts as a pretty solid tone piece for the project overall. Number 2. Bad Boys for Life. Bad boys, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when they don't make a new installment in your favorite action series for over 15 years and you've got to put up with Michael Bay's goddamn Transformers instead? After years of will they, won't they drama, the long-awaited Bad Boys 3, otherwise known as Bad Boys for Life, has finally started production. It was old Will Smith who has apparently always been the main obstacle, as the actor has gone back and forth on whether or not he wanted to be part of the project at all. For a while it looked like the studio might do it without him, but now there's concrete proof that no, he he is back, and the follow-up is actually happening. The first official images come straight from Will Smith's own Instagram, a boomerang of him and Martin Lawrence on a destroyed set, police badges around their necks, and guns in hand. It's a classic Bad Boys image. I can practically hear the explosions just looking at it. Whether or not the film will be worth the wait is anyone's guess, but the hype train officially begins now. Number 1, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We saw the very first glimpse of Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood late last year, but a new batch of images dropped earlier this month showing off the bulk of the ensemble cast. Courtesy of a blowout by Vanity Fair, there are now good looks at Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, and Al Pacino all in character and on set. Robbie's Sharon Tate has perhaps drawn the most attention, stirring up a touch of controversy as the film is set to release close to the 50th anniversary of the Charles Manson murders. DiCaprio looks rejuvenated from his short hiatus away from movie making following his Oscar win for The Revenant, pictured on set as struggling actor Rick Dalton. Here he is dancing on a television set, which begs the question, should we just hand him the second Academy Award now or wait until next February? So that's our list. What do you guys think down in the comments below? Are you looking forward to seeing more from these movies, and hopefully a whole host of more marketing hasn't been released for them by the time this video goes up? Either way, can you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh, you've been watching What Culture, and I'll see you soon. Bye.